Hi, this is the fellow passenger. In this video, we're going to talk about samples. It's quite easy to think of samples as representing particular sounds like a kick or a snare or a loop or some acoustic instrument or something. But if we take a step back and start thinking about the samples as waveforms instead, then they become a super interesting alternative to the classic waveforms you find in a lot of synthesizers like the square wave and sawtooth or sine wave or what have you. Those waveforms are really good and really powerful to create any type of sound, but you can create something really personal and unique if you use your own waveforms instead. So that is what we will be looking at in today's video. Create your own waveforms, and then you use those waveforms to sculpt other sounds with, like bass lines, kicks, snares, etc. So to start with, we're just going to create a bunch of these. You can grab whatever synth you want, but what we are after here is to animate the sound over time. You can use expression control, shaper MIDI. I'm going to use a bunch of LFOs, and I'm going to fast forward this bit. So you don't need to sit and watch while I am just mapping lots of things. So I will be back shortly. Okay, so I am back and I have mapped loads of LFOs, some expression control to an operator. So you can see how all of these are animating. I've also added a bunch of effects to create unique sounds. Every time I press a key, you're going to get something quite different. And if I just keep holding the key, the sound is going to keep animating. A bunch of quite random sounds that you may think that, oh, that's going to be difficult to use, but let's have a look at that. So next step is to create, oh no, let's go into this view here, and then we mark a bar, and then we draw a line in there. I'm going to stop just before the end of the bar, because I've noticed that sometimes when I make sample banks that I get a little bit of a click otherwise. I think that is probably if I use effects and things that create a bit of latency, and that's upsetting things, but I'm just going to do this now. So every time a MIDI note hits, we'll get a unique sound, and I'm going to drag this up to the end of the 128th bar. So we get wild and weird sounds. Then we select that, click, freeze and flatten track, and then we'll just wait a moment. Okay, I just fast forwarded that, and as you can see, we got all our samples here now. Then we're going to right click that, and then we're going to slice this. So set this to a bar, and then you need to pick a sampler. I've set up my own here, but any of these should do. Let's try the sampler beat offset. It doesn't matter so much. And then it has created zones. You hit Command A on a Mac, or I suppose Control A on a PC to select them all, and then we choose crop sample, and it's going to turn these into individual sounds. There we are. I was fast forwarding that. Now when it's done, this little procedure, we can click here and then show in Finder. So here we got all our WAV files that we've just created. I'm going to sort them because Mac creates all this Mac poo. These are ASD files, which we don't need. I just want the WAV files. The next step is, good practice is to normalize these, so you have them at the same volume. I use Adobe Audition for this. You can use whatever you want, or you can just skip this step if you don't want to do it, but I'm just going to show what I do. So I got a second screen where I got all these samples, so I'll just drag them into this window here. And then you pick a favorite. I think this is a default favorite where you can choose. I'm going to set this to a -0.1 dB to make them as loud as possible. And then click run. That's just going to normalize all the samples and save them out. That is now done. Then we can go in here into our user library in Ableton and we can create a new folder. If you want to sign up to my Patreon, you will be able to grab these sounds that I've just made, but I will encourage you to create your own, so what are we calling these? Operator C. Because we used C, even though I suppose a lot of those animated sounds are perhaps drifting outside of that key. Then we just drag our sounds in there. And now I can go back into full screen again. There, we've made ourselves a little sound library. But as you can hear, these are not particularly, you know, like it's not necessarily thought of as being a bass or certainly not any percussive thing or a pad. Now, these are interesting to use in various ways. So one thing, for example, is the wavetable, which is basically allowing you to scrub through a sample. So if we should... Okay, before I share these, I promise I'm going to rename these so they have sensible names rather than this. Oh, got that so. Create a... Created ourselves a nice little wavetable, and then you can obviously make a nice pad perhaps, and let's scrub through the position of the wavetable with a bit of an LFO. And then let's send that to our return channel. Swap that out for a different wavetable. Okay, example of making nice pads, but I think it's more interesting. Well, it's not necessarily more interesting, but you can do some other quite interesting articulations of these sounds. So if we take a sampler and then we... Well, it doesn't really matter which one I grab. That's rave. Ha, anyway. So if we want to create a bit of percussion, we need to certainly have some pitch envelope on here. And then we probably want to have a bit of amp envelope. A bit of drive. And then you can try this with different samples to see. Oh, damn it. Sorry. That's a nice kick. Oh, sorry. Let's see if you infuse some FM into that. Let's just grab a drum bass or something. you can create some quite unique, nice little sounds. So let's just make something out of this little library that we have done. So let's do a few bars. So maybe that too many bars. We can do some bar hopping. Actually, let's cut that out. And then we go for a drum rack instead, and then we insert that in there. And we want that in mono. Let's speed it. Too many bars. Too many bars. Let's copy that to this. And then we'll make a snare. We find another. Sorry, I had to sneeze. Let's drag another sample in. Oh, that's got a bit of noise in it. That's a good start. And maybe we could add a... let's keep that for them now. That was like rubbish beat, isn't it? And then hi-hats are the easiest to... It's interesting with the FM, if you infuse a bit of sine wave into that, how many different varieties you can get from that. So let's actually do that. We just add an expression control set to random, and then we... Let's copy that to there, and then, let's put it there. And now we're going to need a hi-hat. So let's reduce this FM business a bit for this one, at least for now. Let's see. For the hi. We want to use a different waveform as well. Can't really go wrong with a hi-hat. And then we need some glitchy sound, because this is an IDM channel after all. So let's grab another sample and we put that in usually where the other hi-hats go. We grab a bunch of these, drag them in here. I could have taken them all, but I didn't do that this time. And then we set that to selector and distribute them equally. So where do we have that? For this, we want an expression control. So every time we click, we want to pick a different sample. Let's set that to mono. Here, maybe we want to have some FM just to add even more chaos into this. And let's add a bit of drive. Let's do a little bit of housekeeping to keep these neat and tidy. I've set up some shortcuts for myself for some easy just tidying up my frequency spectrum. I'm going to talk about this in a separate video, but basically it's just doing a little bit of EQing that I often need to do. I'll do a separate video on that. Let's add a bit of OTT so we glue everything together. Can we drum bus this? Yeah. The hi-hat is a bit static. We can use, maybe we should reintroduce that FM stuff. Do we need a bass? Yes, we can make basses out of this as well, of course. Maybe we want to use the granulator for that. Our the newish Ableton 12 granular synth, and then we can grab one of our sounds. Feeling that more. Let's click on that. Then we need to create some nice filter envelopes. We need to make this bassier. So let's say that we want to close the filter over time and we want to use envelope 2 for that. So we're in here this section, and if I touch filter there first, then these controls will apply to the filter. And then we need to turn the This is lame, isn't it? What's going on? Let's go down an octave there. And then with the granulator, we obviously can try different parts of the waveform. I don't feel that this is not aggressive enough. Can we? I'm going to try find a more aggressive, something a bit more aggressive. Maybe we need to manipulate this a bit. Maybe we need roar. Maybe we need some distortion. Distortion, roar. Let's start there, and then we can play around a bit more with it. What we want to do here? Bass chords. Who thought of bass chords? No one, because maybe it's a bad idea. Can do some longer notes. And here we can set some variation in. Maybe that's what we want. Maybe we want an expression control with a curve like that. So rarely it sends it off to the reverb, but it does it occasionally. Let's make a pad to go over this, or something a bit more ethereal. Let's do cloud. Sounds like cats, doesn't it? Meowing cats. Amazing sounds we've made today. We're clipping like crazy. Are you hurting your ears? Have I put something on here? No. Let's just that's too quiet and probably too, yeah. Let's try with a different sound. Amazing. Amazing. I think that's enough for this video. I hope that gave you a little bit of inspiration on how to think about any sound as a waveform rather than the sample itself representing the ready-made sound. Thank you for watching. Sign up to my Patreon. Have a good summer and all that stuff. And I will be back soon. Thank you. Bye.